You see that dress? He says, leaning in a little closer. It's stunning, but it doesn't compare to you. I laugh again, tossing my hair. You're smooth, I respond. I bet you say that to all the women. Only to the ones who deserve it, he answers. Hey, I'm Oscar. Let me begin by saying that life hasn't always been this glamorous. 3 years ago, I was working long hours in a cramped studio apartment, building a startup with nothing but determination and caffeine to keep me going. Fast forward to now, I'm a self-made entrepreneur, and tonight marks another milestone in my journey. A night full of excitement, glitz, and endless opportunities. The charity gala is just a few hours away, but I can't contain my excitement. Events like these aren't just about networking. They're a platform to show how far you've come, and trust me, I intend to shine. But the real highlight of the night isn't just the event, it's sharing it with Victoria. My Victoria is perfection. From the moment I met her, she brought a level of excitement and sophistication I didn't even know I needed. She's the type of woman who turns heads, who makes people lean in closer to hear her speak. After 3 years of dating, she still leaves me in awe. When I proposed, it wasn't just about love. It was about knowing I'd found my equal. Together, we're unstoppable. A power couple in every sense. As I prepare for the night, I can't help but reflect on all that she's brought into my life. It's not just her beauty, though she's breathtaking. It's the way she commands attention, the way she makes people feel seen. In a world where connections matter more than ever, Victoria is the ultimate partner. Tonight, I'll be introducing her to people who can shape our future: investors, philanthropists, and some of the city's most influential people. With her by my side, there's no limit to what we can achieve. That said, not everything's been perfect. I've noticed small things that made me pause, like how she seems to thrive on attention, sometimes pushing the limits of what I would consider appropriate. She has this laugh, this way of leaning in during conversations that feels a bit too much. But I've always thought of it as her being socially outgoing. It's part of what makes her so captivating. Still, there are moments when I wonder if I'm being naive, like last month at a dinner party, when she spent half the night talking to a guy I barely knew. She'd laugh at his jokes, lightly touch his arm, things that seemed harmless but lingered in my mind afterward. When I brought it up, she laughed it off, calling me overly sensitive. Maybe I am, or maybe there's more to it, but tonight isn't about doubts. It's about celebration. We've come so far together, and I'm not letting minor things cloud what's ahead. I adjust my tie in the mirror, imagining Victoria walking into the room, turning heads like she always does. She's the kind of woman people remember, and I'm proud she's mine. The gala is going to be a game changer. I can feel it. The atmosphere, the people, the opportunities, all of it is falling into place. With Victoria by my side, I know we'll make a lasting impact. I check the time on my phone. She's still getting ready, of course. Victoria's always one for grand entrances. I don't mind, she's worth the wait. As I sit down to review the evening's schedule one last time, I can't help but smile. This is what I've worked for, what I dreamed of during those long nights in that small apartment. Success, love, and a future that feels limitless. No matter what happens tonight, I know one thing for sure. Victoria and I are meant for greatness. We're a team, a force to be reckoned with, and nothing, not doubts, not whispers of concern, can change that. Hey there, this is Victoria. The moment I step into my dress, I can already feel the night unfolding. It's a deep emerald, hugging my curves just right, with just enough sparkle to make me stand out without being over the top. I finish with a swipe of gloss, adding the perfect amount of shine. I glance at myself in the mirror and smile. Oscar, how do I look? I ask, twirling a little, enjoying my reflection. He pauses, adjusting his cufflinks, and then looks me over. His eyes widen for a second. You look amazing, Vic. Stunning, as always. I toss my hair and wink at him. Of course I do, but come on, let's go. The city's elite are waiting. Oscar chuckles, not missing a beat. You got it, darling. Let's show them what we've got. The gala is everything I expected. Shimmering chandeliers, guests in sleek tuxedos and gowns, laughter filling the air, and glasses of champagne circulating like clockwork. It's elegant, refined, and I'm in my element. Oscar's hand feels warm on my back as we enter. We move through the crowd, exchanging polite hellos, but really, I'm here for more than small talk. I'm here to be seen, to shine, Oscar introduces me to a few people, but honestly, the conversations are dull. These people are nice enough, but they lack any real spark. Oscar's world is full of them. Serious, polished types who never let their guard down. I understand. They're the foundation of his success, the ones he's worked with for years. But I can't help but crave something different. That's when I spot him. I'm standing at the bar when I see him. A silver-haired man in his mid-60s, dressed in a classic tux. He's older than most of the men here, but there's something undeniably magnetic about him. He carries himself with a confidence and air of authority that doesn't feel forced. I feel my lips curl into a smile. A little harmless fun never hurt anyone. "Hi," I say as I approach, leaning slightly toward him. "Can I get a martini, extra dirty?" He looks over and smiles warmly. "A woman who knows what she wants." I laugh softly. I like to think so. The conversation flows easily, and before I know it, I'm laughing at his stories about travels and art auctions. He's charming, definitely older, but there's an edge to him I'm enjoying. Oscar's been so focused on the business world lately, always grinding, and sometimes I need more than that. I sip my drink and tilt my head, letting him talk, but it's clear he's enjoying my attention as much as I'm enjoying his. It's playful, flirtatious banter, the kind of fun I live for at events like this. "You know that dress?" he says, leaning in closer. "It's beautiful, but it doesn't compare to you." I laugh again, tossing my hair. "You're smooth," I say. "I bet you say that to all the women." "Only the ones who deserve it," he replies, holding my gaze just a moment too long. I feel a small twinge in my chest. This is why I love these events. Everything is charged with possibility. Every moment holds a spark of excitement. I've never been one for quiet nights in. I crave action energy. Electric vibes that only places like this provide. Just as the conversation takes another turn, I spot Oscar across the room. He's talking to one of his colleagues, but his eyes flick toward me for a split second. I notice the look on his face, tense, like something isn't quite right. I quickly redirect my attention back to the man at my side, brushing it off. This is harmless fun, lighthearted, nothing more. He leans in even closer, his cologne enveloping me as his voice lowers. "A woman like you should have the world, not just this." "Well," I say, raising an eyebrow. "I wish I was your wife. You seem to appreciate excellence." It slips out before I can stop it. Just a throwaway comment. I laugh it off, but there's a moment where I realize it was a little bolder than I intended. I glance toward Oscar again, and this time I see it clearly. He's frowning, his expression sharp and intense. I roll my eyes internally. Seriously, is he going to get moody over a little joke? Oscar's like that sometimes. Serious. Always looking for deeper meaning in everything. I've learned not to take it too seriously, though. It's one of his quirks. With a practiced smile, I excuse myself from the man at the bar and slip back toward Oscar. I link my arm with his, leaning in slightly, having fun. "Babe," I ask with a smile, giving him a gentle squeeze. He meets my eyes, but something about his gaze doesn't sit right with me. A coolness, maybe. He seems off, but I don't have time for that right now. "Yeah," he says shortly. "You always—" I reply, my smile unwavering, gliding my gaze around the room, already thinking about the next conversation, the next moment. Tonight is about making connections, about living the life I've worked so hard to build. Oscar's a good guy, but sometimes I just need a little more. I can't even describe how I felt when I saw her laughing, her eyes. I noticed her leaning too close to that older man at the bar, and my heart sank. I knew she loved attention, thrived on it, but this was on a completely different level. It wasn't just the playful smiles or the light flirting that bothered me. It was the way she was throwing herself at him. Her body language screamed, "I'm interested," when she was supposed to be having a fun night with me. It felt like she had completely forgotten I was standing there, watching it unfold. Then she said it. I thought maybe I had misheard her. "I wish I was your wife." My stomach dropped. My mouth went dry. The words hung in the air like a slap to my face. I couldn't breathe, couldn't process it. I wanted to walk away, to leave that damn gala behind and find somewhere I could figure out what the hell was happening. But I had to hold it together. We were at an exclusive event, surrounded by people who mattered. The last thing I wanted was for anyone to see me fall apart. Victoria, though, was blissfully unaware of my inner turmoil. She kept chatting and smiling as if nothing had happened, like I hadn't just watched her flirt with a man 10 years her senior right in front of me. I couldn't take it anymore. My hands were clenched into fists at my sides, my jaw tight. I couldn't ignore this. I couldn't pretend it didn't matter, so I grabbed her arm, pulling her gently but firmly toward a quieter part of the room. What the hell was that? I hissed, my voice low but full of anger. Victoria raised an eyebrow, her expression almost too calm. She wasn't fazed, not even a little. Now, what are you talking about, Oscar? She asked, sounding almost bored. Don't play dumb, I snapped. You're practically throwing yourself at that guy, and then You said you wish you were his wife. What the hell is that about? She shrugged, flipping her hair over her shoulder, clearly unconcerned. Come on, it was just a joke. I was just having a bit of fun. You're overreacting. I could feel my pulse quicken, my chest tightening with a mix of confusion and betrayal. Overreacting? I repeated, my voice shaky with disbelief. That's what you think? This was a joke? She rolled her eyes. Honestly, it's not a big deal. You're being dramatic. Her words cut deeper than I could have imagined. I couldn't understand it. Here I was, clearly hurt, and she was brushing it off like it was nothing, like I wasn't worth taking seriously. You think this is nothing? I asked, a bitter laugh escaping my lips. You flirt with some guy at a charity event and you don't think it's a big deal? You don't think it's humiliating for me? Victoria tilted her head and gave me a smile that felt more condescending than anything else. No, you know how I am, Oscar. I'm friendly. I like talking to people, especially older men. They're interesting. You should know that by now. It was like a punch to the gut. Her words were so dismissive, as if I didn't matter, as if my feelings didn't count. She didn't care. I could feel my anger rising, my control slipping away. I wanted to shout at her, to make her see what she'd done, but the last thing I wanted was to cause a scene in front of everyone. So I took a deep breath, my fingers digging into my palms. We're leaving, I said, my voice firm and cold. No, her face changed immediately. The smug smile faded, but there was no apology, no realization that she'd done anything wrong. Oscar! She started, but I didn't wait for her to finish. I turned on my heel and walked toward the exit, not looking back. I could feel the weight of the situation pressing down on me. The whispers had already started. I could tell people were watching, glancing over, trying to figure out what was going on. But I didn't care. I couldn't bring myself to care about anything except getting out of there. Victoria followed me, but she didn't argue. She didn't say anything either. It was like she didn't want to deal with it. I don't even think she understood why I was upset. When we got outside, I stopped, standing under the streetlights, still furious, still reeling. My heart was pounding, my head spinning. I couldn't believe what had just happened. Are you serious right now? I asked, turning to face her. You flirt with him, you make that comment, and now you're acting like nothing happened? Do you even care how I feel? Victoria crossed her arms, her eyes narrowing. You're overthinking this, Oscar. Honestly, I don't get why you're making such a big deal of it. I felt the sting of her words like a slap. I was asking for something, anything, a sign that she cared, that she understood why I was upset. But she didn't even try. It was like she didn't see it, or worse, like she didn't want to. The silence between us felt like a chasm, and I could feel my anger turning into something else. An icy realization that maybe we weren't on the same page anymore. Maybe we never had been. You know what? I said, my voice calm but heavy with finality. I think this is it. We're done. I'm not doing this anymore. I didn't wait for her response. I turned and walked away, the cold night air hitting me like a slap to the face. I couldn't believe it when Oscar called off the engagement. One minute everything was fine, at least that's how it felt. And the next he's standing there, stone-faced, telling me it was over. I was furious, completely blindsided. Oscar, come on, I protested, grabbing his arm as he turned to walk away. This is ridiculous. You're overreacting. But he didn't even flinch. I'm done, he said, his voice firm. Do you even realize how serious this is? My fiancé flirted with another man in front of the city's elite. Do you know how humiliating that is? Do you expect me to just stand there like a fool and ignore it? I couldn't wrap my head around it. How could he throw everything away over something so trivial? I wasn't even serious with that guy at the gala. It was just harmless flirting. I didn't mean it, not in the way he thought. But Oscar wasn't hearing any of it. He walked out and I stood there like an idiot, still trying to process the shock. It didn't take long for things to spiral. Within hours, it was on the news. Local TV stations had already picked up the story, and there it was, my face plastered across screens, replaying my flirtation with that guy. The whole "I wish I was your wife" comment echoing in my ears. I hated hearing it. It sounded worse than it did when it left my mouth, like I could hear just how wrong it was. But I couldn't take it back. The phone calls stopped coming. The invitations dried up. Our social circle, the people I had once been so close to, suddenly couldn't be bothered to talk to me. I even tried reaching out to Bob, the guy from the gala, the one I'd been flirting with. I sent him a message, hoping he'd at least offer some distraction from the mess. But nothing. No reply. That stung. What hurt the most, though, was the men who had once shown interest. They started avoiding me like I had some kind of disease. I saw the looks they gave me, the way they whispered behind my back. Manipulative, untrustworthy, they said, like I was some kind of villain just for talking to someone at a party. At first, I refused to see the problem. I kept telling myself I hadn't done anything wrong. It was just friendly banter, nothing more. Oscar was the one who couldn't take a joke. He was insecure. That was his issue, not mine. I even told my friends that. But as the days passed, I started to notice something. The whispers weren't just behind my back anymore. They were everywhere. I could feel people's eyes on me when I walked into a room. I heard the hushed conversations, the subtle glances exchanged. Everyone was talking, and not in a good way. That's when I started questioning myself. Maybe I had gone too far. Maybe I had underestimated the impact of what I'd done. As the weeks dragged on, regrets started to set in. I didn't want to admit it, but I missed Oscar. His stability, his generosity, the way he always made things easier, the way he looked at me like I was the only one in the room. I hadn't realized how much I'd relied on that until it was gone. Now I was stuck trying to pick up the pieces of my life, and I wasn't sure where to start. I couldn't undo what I had done. The people who once had my back weren't returning my calls anymore. Even my family seemed disappointed in me, like they couldn't understand how I had messed things up so badly. I had spent so much time in the spotlight, getting the attention I craved, that I never saw the downside. I didn't realize that when you screw up like this, there's no quick fix. No magic words that can make everything go back to normal. I can't even remember the last time I felt like I belonged somewhere. I try to keep up appearances to act like everything's fine, but it's not. I'm not fine. I know I screwed up, but no one seems to care enough to give me a second chance. I heard Oscar's dating someone new now. They look happy. He looks happy. And I guess that's what stings the most because I'm still here, still trying to piece together a reputation that's been shattered, still wondering if I'll ever get back what I lost. Do I regret what I did? Yes. But part of me wonders if Oscar's decision to leave was entirely justified. He's moved on, and I'm stuck, wondering how I let it all slip through my fingers. And here I am, still trying to fix the mess I made, unsure if I'll ever be able to